Okay, so yeah, hi. So today again we're to going through how we can create a lens with the help of controller and actually make it dance, make it move through the help of controller. The major concept again remains the same when it comes to animation, which we discovered in the previous tutorial about the animation state manager. So we'll be going through how to create it, but I won't be covering much about animation state manager because I've already covered that in my previous tutorial, right? So the first thing first we need models, right? So here we go in Mixamo, right? So this is the model I'm choosing. So the first thing first we need an idle animation, right? Because this is gonna be the initial state of the player, right? So I think this is gonna be much more noticeable. Let's get this one, right? And let's download it that skin. So this the first time Gottega model we are getting, we have downloaded it with skin, right? Again, the same thing which we have done in the first tutorial, right? After that, we want it to walk, right? So well, through the help of keep the controller pad, user will make it move, right? So we need a walk animation. For walk animation, let's get this one, right? Also, you have to make sure, you see, you have to also make sure you just stick on in place because, you know, we don't want the character to move because we would be moving that character in Blend Studio, not through the animation. If you see, we don't tick it, it's walking, it's moving in the position, which we don't want. We want it to move it in Lens Studio, not here. So just make sure you click on in place and download it. Let's make it without skin, right? And this is the thing which is done now. And the last thing which we need is actually a dance animation. It is gonna be a button, user can click and make the character dance. So let's get a dance one. Oh no. So let's get this one. Okay. Let's download without skin. Cool. Okay. So now let's also, before we import anything, let's also bring the world object controller, which is a very necessity for this project. Let's get this here, right? And there we go. Let's drag and drop it. And also, you see, it's pretty huge. The reason for that is we have to go to camera and add device tracking. And as soon as we do that, it has good tracking. Also, there's few miscellaneous things which you can do is actually select these, right? Actually select these. Right now, it's perfect now. Yeah. And also, let me just quickly change the preview or to beach, right? Just so we can have a proper look, wider look. But now let's bring it our character, firstly with the scale. So this was the idle. Let's accept. Let's bring it into the resources panel, and there we go. So also just make sure you right click and unpack it because that's just uh, that's recommended. And drag and drop into the world object controller, right? And let's just delete this pair, right? And yeah, there we go. So now we had this idle animation, right? Also, just can delete the first animation. Remember not to delete the second animation, right? So this is how it's gonna have. So make sure you to remove the take one. We don't ping that. So and let's rename it to idle. Okay. Also make sure it's a loop. So this is the thing we have done. Oh, now we need more animations. We have to fetch here. It's a like, uh we need the walking animation. Let's bring it here, right? And the last animation is of dancing. Let's bring it here as well. Now, before we implement any of those dancing and moving, the next thing which you want is firstly we want to bring the controller, right? The joystick, what we say is so go to assets library And in assets library, what we have this, let's search as controller. But let's search for controller, and yeah, as you can see, we have this, navigation controller, right, and run on surface. So you can use any of them you want, right? So, controller built using animation state plan, simple helper object. So this is a much more advanced version, right? But I would prefer going with this one because the, so we can understand the main concept behind how it's working, right? So yeah. And here's when the navigation controller. And also, if you closely listen, first again, let's unpack it. Okay. Again, let's unpack for editing. Remember, it's important to unpack, then only we would be able to edit it, right? So you can see it's saying to add it inside the orthographic. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create, ortho type camera and create an orthographic camera. We have this orthographic camera. Now we can drag and drop inside the orthographic. Right? Orthographic camera means 2D camera. Now we got the controller if you see properly, and you can make it move. And you see the movement is not happening, right? It's not happening because you have to choose a camera. Or it's just make sure it's choosing a camera. And you see now if you closely see, the box is actually moving. This box is actually moving. We want to replace this box with the character. I'm gonna open this. This is the move target, right? Which we don't want. We want to replace it. So what we're gonna do, just click on this navigation controller. You see, we have this target. I have to replace this target with this idle. I mean the character. Right. So now you see the character is moving. Right. Now the character is moving. Right. So we have implemented the controller. Right. Now we want that whenever this tap happens, we want it to transition from idle to walking animation, which is done through animation state manager. Remember we talked about how a clicking can make the character transition to another animation in the previous tutorial. That's what's gonna happen here. See, the only difference would be the target would be this instead of any of the images which we used in previous tutorial. Right? So also just delete this move target because we don't want that anymore. Okay. So the character is moving. We just want to integrate the move. For that, in the first thing first is obviously to add a clip, right? And let's click here. Let's click on walking and let's get this. Right. So let's rename it to walk, right? And you see now we have this walking. But again, we don't want it, right? We want starting the initial would be not walking. Again, as I have told in the previous one, how it's getting rendered. The clip one gets rendered first and clip two is getting rendered second. Right? So the next thing what we can do is, you see, I have this animation state manager and I have already integrated few things over here. Right? What I have integrated, I think we have already discussed in the previous video on how to use the state animation state manager. So I have like integrated these things, right? You can watch that tutorial again, because that tutorial is again, I've explained it every minute detail in those 25 minutes. So I think that would be really helpful if you get stuck here, right? So again, let's choose the animation player which is inside the idle, right? And yeah, you see, so these two animations, right? These two parameters is walk and is dance, right? And the entry would be idle, right? The entry would be idle, right? And which is named to walk, right? And the name, the name of the function is walk, right? So yeah, right. So let me just quickly enable it. So yeah, so there we go. So this is the idle one, right? Now what we're gonna do is to say the character is moving, right? Next thing what we're gonna do is now we want to bring in behavior scripts. So let's get this behavior script. Now what we want is whenever tap happens, whenever the touch starts, and we're gonna the touch target would be the touch target would be this dot. You see, I'm disabling and enabling. You can see the dot, this one right over here. Right? So this is gonna be a touch target, right? So we're gonna just drag and drop, right? And to check if touch is happening, we can just try to debug it. So shown hint, uh, print message, walk. Right? So now when I touch start, you can see it's walk. The walk is getting printed, and it got printed almost 13 times because that's that start. Right? At every frame, it's gonna taking it. Right? So yeah, that's what. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna send custom previous. Right? Because that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna send custom previous. Right? Right. I mean, sorry, not the custom trigger, but we want to call object API instead. And again, what these things we have done in a previous tutorial, right? So we're gonna choose the component. We're gonna come here. Animation state manager is the one. Right? Let me just just unlink it. Yeah, you don't have to do that because this is just for this one, just for mine, right? So we done that, right? And again, what we did was we have to call a function called add parameter, right? Add parameter. Remember, we did that. I explained why we are adding add parameter in the previous tutorial, right? And for string here is walk, right? Is walk. The reason we are typing is walk, and let me just quickly configure and let me just quickly explain it once. Okay. The reason we are typing is walks because if you go in animation, we have this parameter named isWalk, and that isWalk is integrated to this condition, right? To this condition, right? So this is what is happening, right? So it's gonna go from idle to walking. Name of the condition is isWalk, right? So and again from walk to idle, isWalk is also gonna same work for the same, but this time it's gonna go is false. When we are going from idle to walking, is walk is gonna be true. When we are going from walk to idle, is walk is gonna be false. I have already explained in the previous one, but still I'm explaining, right? So just so you can get a quick recap, right? So yeah, we've done that. So now if we do that, you see it's moving, right? It's moving. As soon as I leave it, it's still not stopping because we haven't integrated the stop. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do just the reverse of that. Just copy and click on paste, okay? And just we'll be having a duplicate of it. The next thing what we can do is we wanna just set disable it, right? And instead of touch start, we will do touch end, right? It's walking, it's walking, it's walking, it's walking. As soon as we leave it, it comes to ideal state, right? And it's walking. You see, also, I'm noticing the walking is not very strong. The movement is kind of small steps, right? So what we can control the steps by going to this navigation controller and movement speed. You can change it. So if I do one, let's see how fast. Yeah. So I think one is working pretty fast, I guess. Let's go for 0.8. I think this could be fine. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, cool. Yeah. So this is happening, right? So let me just quickly rename this behavior pro walk, idle slash walk. Right? Now also we want a dance, right? So for that we need another image, right? So I'm gonna type and screen image and bring it in here. Hold on. And let me just quickly resize this. Double tap over the screen image, right? And you can just resize it, right? Yeah. Just quickly resize it. So let's replace this image, right? Let's replace this image. I have created one asset product, right? So this is the asset I have created. You can create of your own whatever image you want. And I'm gonna reduce the opacity so it looks similar to the controller opacity. Okay. So consider sets 0 with Dukosh. Yeah. So now we wanna again the steps are again the same, man. They gonna click here and it's gonna transition to is tags, right? So again what we're gonna do, let me just here. Let's create another behavior. Uh, oh, uh, let's do that. Let's get another behavior script. It will do the same step. On tap, but this time the tap on tap because this is a dance button. So we're just gonna tap. So we don't want to start. We just want the tap, right? And we're gonna go uh, and remember we let me just put here rename to dance button. Wait, dance button. So when dance button is tapped, right? We want to call an object API of this animation state player and call the function set parameter waiter, right? And here we want to go for strings again what we did in for the previous one, right? And instead I mean the and here we're gonna type is dance. The reason and also the pool is gonna be true. The reason we are writing is dance is again an animation state manager. Is dance is also a function and that is connected to dance. I mean from here. Yeah, it's gonna go from idle to dancing. The name of the function is dance. And again, it's gonna go from dance to idle, and that is gonna be is dance as well. And so there we go. So when we click here, wait, it's not doing anything. Okay. Why it's not doing anything is I think we are missing something over here. Yeah, because we just haven't added the dance in the frames. Haha. So I'm gonna go and click on add, right, and click here. Yeah, and let's just rename it to dance, right? Yeah. And let me just quickly check if everything is fine over here. Yeah, cool. But I think now when we click, it's gonna dance. So yeah, great. So you can see it's dancing, right? You can also move the character, but it's not coming to idle state. That's the problem, right? Because also there is no trigger. That's the problem. Because there is no trigger to come back to idle. So we want to set a timer that after a specific period, it's gonna come back to norm, to back to idle, right? So we're gonna just duplicate that. Let's just copy and paste, right? Yeah. And what we're gonna do is this time we're gonna delay things, right? So I think all things would be same, right? Everything would be same over here. The only thing which we're gonna do is just again this bool value, right? And what we want to do, we want to delay things. So delay it by 6. Right? So this will be called whenever tap happens. First, this will happen. The dance will initiate, and after 6 seconds of tapping, after 6 seconds of tapping, it will come back to idle because we are disabling it. It and this is again linked to dance to idle. When it's false, then bool is false. This is what is happening. Eh, No, bool is false. So when we click on dance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I think it's gonna come to idle state. There we go. So yeah, you can change the timer here to control. If you think the animation is longer, you want to decrease it, you can click on 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And you can move the character. So yeah, I think this was it, right? The only thing which I haven't talked in detail is how we configured this because everything is seen in the previous tutorial. right? Also, I've explained it, right? Let me also quickly explain. This is the is parameter inside this is walk and is dance exist, right? On the entry, that is the when the lens is initialized, the idle would be the initial animation which would be playing, right? And now we have this transition from idle to walk. Is walk is the name of the function, and if it's true, when it's true, it's gonna walk, right? And when the touch ends, it's gonna go from walk to idle. Is walk when it's false. That is like, how when it's becoming false, when the touch is ending. Right? Similarly for idle to dance, from idle to dance is dance, which is true, and from dance to idle, then the bull is false, right? So there we go. Right. There we go. So this was the whole concept about creating this lens. Hope you have understood. Right. So yeah, thank you.